This is J7 Chase bringing you a much longer FFT video than usual. I'm going to ramble on, speak from my mind. This video will virtually have no cuts and edits, and it's going to be a long one. I'm going to talk about some changes, features, ideas, strengths, and weaknesses of some characters, and how I would like a remake or a remaster of the game if it ever does get released for Final Fantasy Tactics. So if you like this kind of content where you listen to me for a while, that's great, and if you don't, that's fantastic as well. Thank you for being here, and now we're gonna go on to the main point of the video. So if there are no changes to the game, that's great, but I have some ideas if they were to make changes. So yeah, either way, I think it's a win-win if there's a remake or remaster, because we can always go back and play the original games like vanilla FFT and the PSP remaster, War of the Lions, or if you like the Android and iOS version. But we don't even know if this is going to be a real thing, as there's no real concrete proof of it. And I get this in the comments where people are asking me about the release date and so on. Thanks so much for thinking I'm an official source, but if it ever does get a release date, go tweet or email Square Enix to have them give me an early review copy. I would really love that, and it would be a dream. So now people also refer to the NVIDIA leak all the time. However, we also need to consider the games that weren't even on the leak, like the up-and-coming Star Ocean 2. I mean, I'd probably play it, but I loved Star Ocean 3 way more for reasons. Now to briefly recap what I would want, like the bare minimum, for some quality of life changes and some nice things to really improve the game. Here are 10 things I would love. So number 10, the PS1 sounds and soundtrack options. So, like, for example, like if you played the Spyro Reignited trilogy, like you could switch between the classic and the new updated soundtrack. That would be great, because I love the original FFT soundtrack. I loved Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together's PSP soundtrack, so having that option would be great. Number 9, have it be available on all platforms, like Steam, PS4, PS5, Xbox, Switch. That would be great, so everyone would be happy, and it'll just be more sales for Square across the board. Number 8, I'd love to see more artwork for Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, there's a lot of concept art and sketches, but we don't really see the official or final art of people like Beowulf, Malidal, etc. and so on. Number 7, increased party roster size. Like, I feel like we should have like double the amount, maybe like 50 or 70. That would be really cool, so we get to play around with the monsters, have a bunch of generics who we get to name. That would be really, really fun, and it'd have us keep on playing the game more without having to change equipment, change jobs, and so on. And number 6, no ability slowdown or a fast forward option, because like in the PSP it was too slow, but on the mobile version it was too fast. Just have it at the PlayStation 1 speed. That's perfect. Number 5, bring back the ability spell quotes like they had for the PS1. Those were really, really cool and iconic, so it was sad to see them get taken away. I mean, it's just a small complaint, but I missed saying, Master of all swords, cut energy knight sword, life is short, berry, steady sword, not stasis sword. Yeah, and then for number 4, it's be able to retreat from battle and skip cutscenes. I think that'd be great. It's like Final Fantasy X Remastered. We couldn't skip cutscenes. I'd like for us to have the option to skip the cutscenes, because I mean the story is great, but if we just want to get to a certain part, we should have that option. Number 3 is more animated cutscenes for more meaningful moments. Like, I'd love to see one, you know, of the ending with Delita and Ovelia with the knife stabbing. Ovelia's farewell. The first time you see Mustadio and Zaylan, I think those would be some really meaningful, like, more animated cutscenes for very crucial points in the plot would be awesome. Number 2, buff Ultima Magic. Like, I remember like hearing about Ultima, and you know, I was really disappointed with its damage because my first Final Fantasy was 7, and then, you know, Ultima was an awesome spell, and then you go into Tactics and you're thinking, oh, Ultima, and it was a bit, I was disappointed. So definitely buff Ultima. And number 1, have multiplayer rendezvous and melee options, because there's a lot of people in the comments who wish they could experience it, and they were some very, very difficult fights, especially if you're aiming to 5-star it. So bringing that back would be amazing. So those are some basic quality of life changes. But, you know, if they just release the base game as it is, you know, simply port it, I'm sure that would make more people, you know, more than happy. But, you know, what if they plan to do some, you know, overhauls, changes, like with what happened to Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. There are 2 remasters, so there's remaster remakes. There's like, because they did change quite a bit. Like Let Us Cling Together for the PSP, and the more recent Reborn. So gameplay changes and so on. We don't know if there's going to be any changes. But I'm going to be all over the place, so you can call me Jace, all over the place Jace for here. In terms of, and I'm going to touch up on a lot of topics. And if I don't, just let me know what you think, what you would like to be added. I would say better ability choices or options from the AI and so on. So, like, you know, stronger movement, support, secondary, and, you know, reaction abilities. Like, how many times have we seen, I know Toshinagawa and quite a few other people have, you know, said stuff like this, Benjamin Bomberry, 808 MVP. Sometimes, you know, in like chapter 4, chapter 3, or chapter 2, you know, we see an enemy, you know, use a potion, and, you know, that heals for 30 in chapter 4, and I'm like, I want to see, you know, I want to see them have access to the stronger abilities and items, like, you know, a knight using X potions to heal, you know, chemist, auto potion, you know, move +3, move +2, things like that. And some enemies we face in random battles to have more than 999 HP, because it's relatively easy, and I'll put that in quotes there, to reach the damage cap and etc. So I do want to see, you know, things like that. And it's not necessarily a difficulty increase, but it's just, it would be great, you know what I mean? Like seeing a knight with double hand, or having them with, you know, defender, save the queen, etc. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, the enemies just having overall better equipment and abilities like human enemies. I think that would be really, really cool. And, you know, with the overall changes, this is going to mean that some things will get stronger, weaker, and so on. Now, obviously, if you've played multiplayer games at a fairly high level, you're never, or just, you know, patches or game changes, you're never going to get a perfect balance with all the characters, comps, classes, at all points in the game, you know, at every level. So let's just say chapter 1, and if they do decide to do PvP, so we're going to take that into consideration as well. In terms of balance, that is just the way it's going to be. Like, no game's ever going to be balanced. I've played World of Warcraft, you know, Wrath of the Lich King, and season 5, 6, and 7 at the 2200 level. I played in BC at 2K. Played Heroes of the Storm and Master League and Diamond League. And even with things like, you know, PTR, balance, patch changes, game tournaments, it was never possible, unfortunately. But, you know, that's my background experience when it comes to balance changes. background in playing more competitively. So I'm going to be bringing all that and propose a few things for FFT. Now, what I'm saying is not going to be perfect. There will be balance issues no matter what, but as long as the game is fun, I think that's what matters most. And you know, the soundtrack, the music, it's charming. Like FFT's story, it's great as is, but I'm just gonna propose some things that'll make everything better. Some things will be overpowered, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna try and make things more viable, challenging, but not, you know, too challenging where it's like Kaizo. Possible nerfs and etc. I'm gonna go from the characters, jobs, weapons, additional side quests, and other things I'd like to change, and much more. And sorry if it's not in order. I kind of just like scribbled on a piece of paper and I'm looking at my desktop, so I'm kind of all over the place. But yeah. Now this might be a controversial change, but I want to see parry or weapon guards be a passive. So if a weapon has some sort of like, you know, weapon block, it should be a thing. Like you should be able to block with that weapon. Like you shouldn't have to have a reaction ability, you know, equipped in order to use that part of the weapon, because like even defender or a cloth, that's like what, defender is 60, cloth's at 50. Like even if you're using parry, it's not even overpowered. So it would make things like the dancer, for example, infinitely better if they could block. But hold on, I'm going to Ramza first. So first things first, I'm gonna start with Ramza. So even though his playable job is Squire, he kind of isn't. Like he's also kind of a blue mage, as he can learn like Ultima in chapter 4, kind of like a knight too, with knight swords and heavy armor. And in terms of like the lore and story too, like I don't like, he is the strongest warrior. Like he is the Chuck Norris of Ivalice. Like look at who he defeats. His battle record is insane. He's like the Alexander the Great of the Ivalice world. So because he's a master swordsman, he should be able to learn the unique sword abilities if he survives them. Like Hollowed Bolt, for example. Another point, like when he defeats Gafgarian in chapter 4 as well, and you inherit his crystal, you should be able to get Shadow and Dusk Blade, in my opinion. Like the dude is a sword master, S tier fighter, even though he's a wee lad compared to these other guys. Like, you know, he's just that talented. So that means, you know, he's got to be stronger gameplay wise, you know, as the main character. And to me, once you obtain each Zodiac Stone, I almost said Thorn, like a thorn, or the aura sights, that should also give you a chance to increase his stats, like, you know, PA, speed, magic, and so on, because you know, he's holding the stones, right? It should make you stronger. So like I feel like you should get like a stat increase of your choice for each stone you obtain, and that should only apply to Ramza. And also, like I mentioned earlier, his Ultima should be buffed. Like either give him Ultima 2, all Ultima, or just improve the damage of his current Ultima and make it instant, I say. And also, why not just give him Zalbag's Blade of Ruin? Just set the JP cost to be like 3,000 or something, you know what I mean? Like give him something unique. You know, I feel like he would learn something, you know, from his brother or his father, etc. Some people are going to think Blade of Ruin is overpowered, but you know, Hollowed Bolt, like my target's dead, to me that's more overpowered than nullifying some stats. Just my opinion. I also would like the option pretty much for all the characters. I mean, if they have multiple things, like, you know, change his sprite, because I'm sorry people, you know, if you love his chapter 4 sprite, good for you, but I'm not a fan of that. Like it's chapter 2 and 3, even chapter 1 looks pretty cool. So these are all my proposed changes for Ramza to be, you know, over the top, and I feel like he should be this way as the main character after all. Despite what articles have said and of him being weak, no, he's actually the best warrior in Ivalice. Like the people flock to him, like Orlando and etc., because he's an able warrior and he can lead, and you know, he has good morals and values. So if you don't like it, cool. If you like it, awesome. If you don't like it, cool too. And as for Delita, now this doesn't get talked about enough, and I've said it a few times, but I really want the scrapped arc or side story or with him to be in the game. So Square Enix, if you're watching this, if this has to get delayed another 10 years, 20 years, I'd love to see it if we get more of Delita. You know, some gameplay where we get to level him up and etc. And I personally feel like we should be able to control him at least in chapter 1 and the other guest battles, because he is a main character of the game. I know I have some Delita lovers, some haters, but you know, he is a main character. Like, he's very crucial to the plot. You know, if you check the books, he is a main character. And another thing, I feel like he should be deployed as well in chapter 1 in random battles. But he will still, you know, leave the party, obviously at the end of chapter 1. So no main plot changes, I feel like, you know, like Zabag's actually alive or something. Just keep the plot the way it is. And this might seem like another crazy idea, but I love it. Like, you know, once you beat the game, the story, if they have like a new game or continue plus, that would be, they should have that as well. And we should be able to use him in his king sprite along with, you know, Ovelia, Oran, and Balmafra. I think that'd be really cool for like a new game plus option. We get to use these characters. Now we're gonna start the jobs a little bit. For the Squire, I think they should get a slight stat increase and the heal, like how the soldier in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance was. Also, the ability to equip shields along with an ability that will reduce incoming damage for the next few turns, or you know, for one attack. That'd make the Squire infinitely better. I'm well aware that they are a certain class, but you know, even with this said, like, you would still never use a Squire over a Ninja, you know what I mean? For the Chemist, they're actually, I feel like they're really solid as is. You know, maybe a slight stat increase for them, like HP. I'd also have them, you know, have an ability, like an item plus ability, you know, exclusive to them, to the Chemist only, so like their items are stronger. So like, for example, your potion normally heals for 30, but as a chemist, like if you're a chemist primary, your potions will heal for like 80 instead. So we would encourage people to stay in certain jobs as a primary, as opposed to using, you know, secondaries and other things. You know, you should be able to use items on other jobs, but I don't think they should be better than a true chemist, I feel. And I feel like at the beginning, like having the starting mages like Black and White, Knight, and Archer take a bit longer to unlock. Like, for example, they got to be a level 5 Squire and a level 5 Chemist. So there is a sense of progression, and you know, we're playing the game a bit longer. So with that being said, we're gonna go into these jobs. So the Knight, to me, they should have a passive defense boost, I feel, and have the rend stats and rend equipment. Like, they should be able to do, you know, 20% of their normal attack damage, you know, even if their like rend doesn't apply. Like if you miss rend power, you should be able to deal some damage, I feel. And have some abilities like from FFTA, like Holy Blade, Saint Cross, Nurse would be great, because like all they are in FFT, like their base abilities, they just rend and cripple stuff. But I feel like they should have some damage options. But like for these abilities, it should be really high. So there's some purpose, like, you know, like Holy Blade be like 5,000 JP or something, like their ultimate ability. And have it, you know, only be exclusive to Knight. Like you can use like a lot of the other abilities, but I feel like each job or class should have their own unique thing that you get when you're in it as a primary. Now the Archer, oh man, a lot can be done to make them better. To me, like they're one of the worst, arguably the worst in the game. Definitely stat increases in like HP, speed, and PA. Have only one version of aim, but have it, you know, follow their target, do more damage, and have the next heal on that target decreased by half. A sonic like boom attack from FFTA would be great, so they can hit multiple targets while doing solid damage. Double shot from Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, would be fantastic. But just have it extremely high, you know, like 7,000 JP. They attack twice, and have it be exclusive. You know, kind of like limit breaks kind of a thing. I think that would be really cool. And you know, all these changes would make the archer unique, distinct, and they'd stand out. You know, I feel like they should be the only one to reduce healing on the target, you know, but it's only for one turn, you know, by half. So there you go. Archer's gonna be good, fixed. Also have them keep concentration too as a support ability. But yeah, that's how you fix the archer. Done. Black mage, honestly, it's super strong as is. I feel like maybe a slight nerf to their MA multiplier and have flare only be usable on the black mage. That'd be really good. Yeah, just like I said earlier, every single one has like their own unique ultimate ability exclusive to their job, so you have to use it in their primary. Okay, so we're on the white mage. Okay, sorry for the slight pause or delay in the video. I had to use the bathroom, so this is where I had my first cut. So anyway, arcane defense for white mage as their passive, have holy be their exclusive ability, and to me that's a wrap. Perhaps reduce the cast time of, you know, Kiraga and Kiraja a little bit, and you know, that's all. I think the white mage pretty solid. They do have less MA than other things, but they do have faster speed, so they can beat the other ones to the cast. On the topic, now I gotta go back to some characters real quick. So Alicia, Lad, and Labian. I like them a lot. I feel like they should have a distinct portrait. Slightly better stats than, you know, than other squires and knights as well. A different colored sprite too, kind of like how Ari Cell, if you play Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, looks different than the other archers. Like, you know, her sprite obviously in her portrait, just no calling her a loser. Those are the OGs that played the old version of Tactics. Know what I'm talking about. I know I'm skipping around, but Iblis's next top model, increased stats for sure. Like her exclusive Holy Explosion, Divine Renotion, I think it was Candescent Hue. That should be her unique ability, like we saw in War of the Visions. It's like, you know, Holy Explosion on steroids. I think she should have that. Tyner Rouge is also exclusive to her. That would be fantastic. And also in terms of exclusives, I feel like Ramza should have an exclusive weapon, or just make the Chaos Blade one of a kind, and you know, that'd be great. So what else? Oh man, I am jumping around here. I'm sorry. But the summoner, I feel like with Golem, it should be any kind of physical attack. Like it should be able to protect you from things like, you know, Sanguine Sword. I think it'd make Golem infinitely more viable. Some people will say it's strong as is, but you know, those knights are strong as is. And I don't have a thing for knights, but you got to be able to defend yourself against some of those attacks. Time Mage, I feel like they should have Swiftness as their passive. Reduce the cast time of Meteor. They're good to go. Let's see what else. With Thief, definitely an increase in their PA. I feel like their speed should match that of the Ninja and Balthier. Like they should be one of the fastest classes in the game. And I feel like they should have passive catch and poach. There you go. Thief's gonna be infinitely more viable. Now the order, I feel like with speechcraft or talk skill, their percentage should be a lot higher for them to land. Like they're already not going to kill you with their damage, so an increased success rate would be great for them. Now for the Mystic, I feel like they should have Mana Font as their passive. That'd be great. You know, restore MP. Slightly more, you know, MA, and then that increase their damage with the pull thing, and you're pretty much good to go. With Geomancer, I really think they're pretty solid as is. Maybe a very slight increase to their Geomancy damage, and that's pretty much it, in my opinion. With the Dragoon, so the change I want for them, or if I were to design, you know, my own mod, to me, how fast you come down, it's not going to be based on speed. It should be, you know, a set amount. As for the amount, I don't know. But you will always follow your target. However, it can be blocked or evaded with, you know, shield and cloaks. So it's not really an improvement or a nerf, like it's just changed. So they should follow your target, but you know, of course, you know, like jump 8 shouldn't be like 8 turns. It maybe just 3 across the board and have it be evadable, you know, dodgeable, not with just Shira Hadori. So with Samurai, I feel like they should have double hand, like that's their special ability, their passive. And then draw out, that should be based on if you're wielding a katana or not. Kind of like how spears or polearms is a factor for polearm damage, like jump damage. And I feel like Yaido is going to be based off your PA now, not your MA. I don't think it should be based off your magic attack. So for Ninja, I feel like the throws are kind of stale. They should have something similar to like the attacks from the Ninja from FFTA. And of course, keep dual wield as their passive, but the second sword should do half the damage. I feel like dual wield is way too strong. Even with the second weapon dealing half damage, I still feel like it's going to be a very strong support ability. So that's my change for it. Arithmetician or calculator, you can only use math skill in their job. Like, you shouldn't be able to put arithmetics as a secondary on other things. That's gonna fix them up 100%. Maybe add like 1 more speed, you know, 1 more MA or something to their job. But just, yeah, make sure they're the only ones that can use it, and that's already an easy fix. They're not going to be strong because their stats are terrible. Speed and MA, like this game is all about, like, speed is a very, very strong stat. I'm not going to say it's the best stat. Arguably it is, but, you know, if you get KO'd, you know, that CT is going to keep clicking and you're going to pass out. So let's see, Bard, definitely make them faster, more MA, more HP slightly, and make sure they can sing faster. Like, there's no reason why you know, some of their final songs take like 30 turns and swiftness doesn't even apply to them. So just make sure like they can sing faster and they're infinitely more viable. Like, even with the whole 50-50 thing, they're going to be a lot better. Mime, I feel like they should be able to equip items, you know, at least, you know, head, armor, accessory, no weapon. Even with that, you know, they're still not going to be, you know, top tier. They're just going to be a bit more tanky, which would be great. But have them only equip clothing or heavy armor, same thing. A dancer, make them a little bit like dance faster, more HP, and they're infinitely more viable. Someone said like, oh, it's the most overpowered thing in the game. No, dancers are not, I'm sorry. Like, would you ever bring a dancer to, like, a single lone dancer in their primary to 5-star Brave Story and Rendezvous or Velius? You wouldn't. As for the Dark Knight, definitely lower their requirements. Maybe, you know, Master Knight, Master Black Mage, or just copy the Lion Wars level 8 knight, level 8 black mage, and have them, you know, kill 10 targets. Yeah, but I feel like they definitely should have more HP and MA. Like, some people are gonna be like, oh, they're already overpowered as is, but I feel like, you know, after all that work, they gotta have more HP and MA. That's just me. And then for the Onion Knight, I still feel like you should be able to master all the jobs, and then you get the best Onion Knight. Unpopular opinion, but they should have some base abilities, and they should kind of base it off the Onion Knight from Dissidia Final Fantasy and Dissidia 12 Final Fantasy. Like, they had an ability to increase their stats, you know, like focus, HP, but they can only use it like, you know, once per battle. And they should be able to have, like, you know, passive, you know, attack, defense boost, arcane strength, and I feel like they should be able to equip at least you know, one ability, like another support, reaction, and so on. And definitely increase their base move and jump, you know, just 5 move, 5 jump when you master them, or, you know, when you master all the jobs, because yeah, even in War of the Lions, once you master everything, they're still not worth your time. So I feel like with this, they're going to be a lot more viable, and definitely something you want to try out once you master everything. For Balthier, now I like him a lot, but he's really overpowered. I make it so he can no longer equip Night Swords, no longer has Safeguard, but his passive to me should be like a gun specialization or gun mastery, where he's going to do 5% more damage with guns, and have 1 extra range. I feel like that should be his thing. Barrage should not be 100% accurate anymore as well, and no longer like, you shouldn't have arm and leg shot and seal evil. I feel like that should be someone else's abilities. So another cameo or appearance, Luso. I feel like he should have a mix of some of his FFTA2 abilities, like from, you know, Power Reverer, Paladin, Soldier, and Blue Mage. Like, he should have something like you know, Shimmering Blade, Bad Breath, or something, you know, make them really unique instead of as opposed to a Ramza clone. But let him keep Poach as his passive. That'd be cool. Now with Mustadio, definitely stat increase, increases base move of 3 to 4. He should have Safeguard instead, and that'll make him infinitely more viable as well. I feel like Balthier shouldn't be a better Mustadio. Like, Mustadio should be his own thing. Like, he's the only one that should have, you know, arm, leg, shot, seal evil, you know, as a playable character. So, Boko. Boko, I feel like they should make him a bit special. Make him a white colored chocobo, or like a different colored chocobo. So, like, you want to keep him. He's exclusive and unique from other people. Or other animals or monsters, I should say. Make him stronger than other chocobos. And I feel like over time, as you level him up, he can get things like Choco Meteor, Choco Pellets, Isuna, and so on. And another game mechanic that I feel like should be added in, like mounting chocobos. Like, I feel like with mounting chocobos, they should give you a lot more benefit than just, you know, movement and negative status element protection, because you're also giving up a character slot as well. So to me, you should get more speed and attack. Like, it should be increased by 20 or 30% if you decide to mount the chocobo, because, like, even then you get these benefits. Like, will it still be better than, like, having another character? Like, I'd still rather have another character instead of mounting a chocobo. But definitely, when you mount the chocobo, there should be a lot more benefits, like stat increases, kind of like a mounted warrior, you know, like a cavalryman, or, you know, definitely. So let's see, I'm talking for a long time. On to the other characters. Cloud Strife. Just make him insanely strong, alright? Best stats, instant limit break, but he can't be used in Rendezvous and PvP. Like, he should be that, like, you know, fun final guest character you get. And just, like, look at who he is, you know? He should be, like, Like, he's one of the strongest characters in Final Fantasy canon lore. And yeah, just don't make him join the party at level 1. Make him scale with your party so you can just use him right away and just blast everything. Yeah. There we go. A Beowulf. Honestly, I think Beowulf is solid as is. He really doesn't need any changes at all. He's just so good. Orlando. If he was to get changed, the only thing I would change about him is no hats, clothing, one less move. He'll still be very, very strong. To me, it just makes no sense as a knight he can equip those things. And, you know, he's a bit on the older side, so the one less move, maybe one less speed as well. Like, no way the old man can run that fast. Unless you're like, you know, Craterus or something, one of Alexander's generals again, or like the Silver Shields. But no, yeah, even with that, he'll still be one of the best characters because he's insane. Reyes, she's already good as is. Like, she really doesn't need that much, I feel. Now for Rafa and Merrick. What you can do is just better stats across the board. I feel like with Rafa, since I like her, she should be able to equip ninja swords. Her base move should be 4, and she'll be infinitely better. And I feel like the first 2 attacks of both of their mantras should be a guaranteed hit on the center tile. And then after that, you can get, you know, kind of random. And they'll be much better. America has more MA. And yeah, that's a wrap, I feel. Who else? Melidel, she's already good as is. She really doesn't need much more. Construct 8 or the Automaton, strong already. What else? Random guest battles. You know, like the Chocobo or the Dragons and Mandalia Plains. I feel like after you win those battles, they'll offer to join you. I think that would be a really, really cool thing. What else? I'm also gonna go over I feel like they should have, and the Lion War mod already included it, like a Depths of Moran, or kind of like a Coliseum from Kingdom Hearts, like a rendezvous thing. Like, we're gonna face insane harder battles, or they just expand upon rendezvous with like the other Zodiac bosses. You know, we'll face like Southern Sky Knights, the Ordalian forces, you know what I mean, like the Knights of Limberry, you know what I mean? And it's not going to be like a canon or story kind of thing. It's just going to be like a difficult challenge battle, which the player should be able to engage in. And for the super boss, Elidibus, I feel like they should make him a lot harder. Like, give him more HP, make Zodiark instant, make him faster too, because he's really, really slow. He has like a speed stat of like 6 or 7. Like, someone was telling me to just Ren speed on him, but he's still very slow. Like, if you Ren speed, that's overkill. Like, no. You don't need to Ren speed. He's still very slow. Definitely, I think there should be a cap on bravery and faith. Like, you know, bravery should be 80. Lowest faith can be as 20, and just have no desertion threats or someone threatens to leave the party and etc. No, I think that should be just taken out. But Ramza can have slightly higher than normal bravery and faith. Like, he should be able to have like 85 bravery. He can go down to like 15 faith. You know what I mean? Like, something to make him a little more, you know, unique. Hot topic, leave Zodiac signs alone. I think it's a very, very cool and unique mechanic to FFT. Get rid of the no poor items on treasure hunt tiles. To me, you should be able to get the rare item no matter what. Yeah. What else? The Elm Door battle with the stealable Genji set. That should be a thing again. And the Genji armor should be improved, but it's also very, very exclusive. Like, I feel like the Genji set should give plus PA and MA. Like, you gotta make it more distinct and unique. All right, so we are going to talk about the armor. So the specifics, like heavy armor. So heavy armor and helmets, they have to do more, I feel, because in the late game it really falls off compared to hats and clothing. So definitely they gotta give more HP and like reduce incoming damage, you know what I mean? Like 5% reduction, or give like PA and MA, because yeah, most of that high armor just is not good enough. Like, why would you ever want to use it? So yeah, definitely more HP, and you know, have it reduce incoming damage or something, you know, like a certain percentage. Absolutely. And some negative status ailment, you know, immunity, like that would be great. That's how you fix heavy armor and helmets. As for clothes, hair adornments, hats, robes, and shields, yeah, definitely. I don't know, it's pretty already solid as is, you know what I mean? Like acacia hat's gonna be amazing, like the best thing for hats. Hair adornments, ribbon as well. So yeah, not much to fix there, I feel. And yeah, even with shields too, I think it's pretty solid as is. However, this also leads to the next thing, the weapons, how I'd fix the weaknesses or balance out the weapons so things are a lot more viable. So the first thing, axes. Let's get rid of the no random damage. Definitely increase their attack, but gives, like, you know, they gotta have a penalty, like, you know, -1 move, minus speed, but you know, give them some extra bonuses, like, you know, +1 MA, plus 5 or 10% critical, you know what I mean? Something like, you gotta have a reason to use an axe over like a sword or a night sword. And with like the bags as well, we're gonna talk about bags. Like, for example, like have the bags give like stats instead of like having to do like random damage. Like, have it give like, you know, MA and speed, like, you know, like for example, like the falling star bag, like, oh, here's the best quote-unquote bag in the game, or the most expensive one, it's only 20 random attack damage. Not cool. Okay, so for books, no longer used by Onion Knight, they should definitely give some stats, like, you know, HP, MA, and make like have like the final one, Omnilex. It can reduce cast times very slightly. Like, there's almost no reason why you ever want to use a book, so they should give some stats, you know what I mean? Like MA, reduce some cast time, and it'll be good. Maybe some MP. There you go. Books infinitely more viable. Now bows, for a lot of them, increase their weapon attack and give them, like, you know, crit percentage or PA. Like, you know, the wind slash bow and artist bow, they don't really contend with like the swords and etc. And now for crossbows, greatly increase their power, but limit their mobility and give one, you know, like 1 minus speed. You know what I mean? Like Gash Graffitis should not have only 10 weapon attack. Like, as the ultimate crossbow, like, why is that even a thing? Make it like he can easily double its power, and it still, you know, wouldn't be, you know, the weapon of the game. You know what I mean? And like the hunting bow only has 6 weapon attack. Like, come on. So definitely drastically increase their attack power, but, you know, have it hinder your mobility and speed. Like a crossbow should be like a devastating weapon. Now for the fell swords, because they're two-handed and have dark element, at least the ones pre-Valhalla I think are pretty alright, but at least for Valhalla, I feel it should have more attack power than like the Chaos Blade, have to give like 1 MA and some MA. I mean, since you can't use a shield, like you gotta have a reason to want to use something like Valhalla. But definitely buff it. With guns now, I feel like they should have more weapons that you can buy with various weapon attack. So it'll scale a lot better, you know, throughout the course of the game. Because, you know, all we have at the shop are like Ramadan pistol that gives like 6 attack, and Mithril gun that gives 8, and that's all you can get. And then, I mean, the originals like that into the magic guns, that's too big of a gap or a leap. So I feel like you should be able to buy more at the shop, or be able to poach these kind of guns, you know, treasure hunter. And I feel like PA from equipment will increase damage, gun damage only, not character stats. So, you know, they're still going to be viable, you know what I mean? And with magic guns, they should be able to at least stack elemental damage boost twice instead of, you know, just one. And the instruments from the bard, I feel like they should be really increased, like their weapon power, and they should only be bard exclusive, like nothing for the Onion Knight, but have it give, you know, have each instrument, you know, give good stats, you know what I mean? Like some HP, some, you know, speed, MA. Can be like, you know what I mean? Like Fairy Harp, if it gives like plus 10 MA, you know, will the bard still be good? Will, like, would you still want to use the bard over something like, you know, Dark Knight? Probably not, but that'll make them infinitely better. Like, have the instruments give stats, not necessarily plus 7 to your MA, maybe for Fairy Harp, but, you know, it'll make them infinitely better just having a better weapon. With the katanas now, I think they are very solid in the original, but, you know, in War of the Lions, they kind of fall off because there's no new katanas. So to remedy that, definitely have more weapon power on Masamune and Chiriji Raden. Then they'll be able to contend with like a Knight Swords. Or leave it as is and nerf the Knight Swords. For the knives, definitely increase their weapon power slightly, and have some of the later ones give +1 speed or like critical hit. And there you go, they're infinitely more viable. Now Knight Swords, they should be double hand, absolutely. And that's an easy fix. Like, they'll still be strong, but not as strong as they used to be. Ninja Blades, I feel like with, like, you know, Sasuke's blade or Eagle Blade, they should give, like, you know, +1 speed and +1 PA or something, because it's just kind of stale. You might as well just go up to Moonsoak Blade and Morochi instead. With poles, leave them as is, but have them give some MA and MP. Like, they don't give you any stat bonuses at all, so I feel like they should be a hybrid, you know, weapon. Give some MA and let you, you know, melee them with the pole, like, you know, if you're a mystic. As for rods, I feel like they're pretty solid as is, but you know, make some changes to something like the Dragon Rod. Have it give relevant stats like more MA, speed, reduce casting time, or have it do more damage. Your spells will do more damage versus dragons or something. Because it's something like that, like a rare weapon, it shouldn't, you know, it should be a lot better, I feel. And then with the Rod of Faith, I feel like that one, they should leave it as is. Lets you have the faith status, which pretty much, you know, lets you have 100 faith, you know what I mean? That should be left alone. Polearm spears, I think they're already solid as is, very good weapon. Now with staves, like Golden Staff, Staff of the Magi, they should have more various effects, like the staves early on, you know, like boost magic, you know, like holy, MA, etc., more MP. Because a lot of them, it's just they're not given stats, or there's no reason to really have one equipped. A lot of them, like before you get the best ones, like Dreamwaker. Swords, they're very, very solid. I'd say just leave them alone as is. Like they're plenty strong already. The materia blade, I'd change that up. Have that exclusive to cloud only and have it be much stronger, you know what I mean? Like 25, 27 weapon attack and make that cloud only. Like, and he doesn't have to use it. Or have it equipped to use limit, I feel. Now with throwing weapons, like they should scale, you know, with your PA at the later parts, or if you're a ninja or something. Like they should do more damage. And with unarmed, like with the monks and brawler, it should take a damage hit, maybe like 10-15%. Like it's still going to be doing solid damage with like a 10 or 15% nerf. So I mean, you're still going to be using or wanting to use the monk, even if their damage is nerfed. So yeah, now this wraps up my video about, you know, some of the changes, some of the things I'd like to see in Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, or a potential one. Now, like I said earlier, I'm fine if they just do the base game. Don't really implement any changes. But yeah, here are some ideas and things I'd use to balance, you know, the characters, the jobs, the things to do, and etc. So things would be, you know, a lot more viable and strong. So let me know if you like my suggested changes, you hate them, or etc., or if you're even even if you made it to the end of my video. If you did, you know, thanks so much. I'm glad you like listening to me talk about Final Fantasy Tactics. You know, I really love the game, and you know, I'm glad I have a lot of viewers who also love FFT. So if you made it this far, thank you so much again for watching. It'll be the end of the video, but not the end of the FFT content. So be on the lookout for more of it to come out in the future. I'll see you next time, and you know, I hope you take care of yourself, and best wishes. Have a great one.